Hey everyone, Master Krabs here, just running you through a quick tutorial on how to set up the new Subnautica Multiplayer from Nitrox. Basically, it's very self-explanatory these days. It used to be a very convoluted process where you'd have to go into Visual Studio and a few other programming tools and actually recompile the library to get your computer to run multiplayer. But now they've made it so simple with a launcher. So without any further wastage, let's get into it. Firstly, you've just pretty much got to go to the official Nitrox Discord. That'll be the quickest way to get the download. You can literally go to it. It's on Reddit. Otherwise, just look at the link from in my description. Once you get the download from the link and it finishes, you'll notice it will. You just basically got to extract it because it's a zip. You can do this anywhere. They say put it in your local Subnautica directory, but you actually don't have to do this. From all the tests that I'm doing, for what you see from the screen, I'm literally just going to extract it and run it straight from the folder. Basically, once it's extracted, it's pretty much installed. You just go into the folder. Once you're in the folder, you'll notice there's README, patch notes, and the configuration. You don't actually need to really do anything with those. You literally just need to run the launcher. It's probably going to come up with a Windows cannot identify this package. Basically, just allow that to run because it's not validated software, and you'll probably need to do this if you're running Windows 10. But regardless of which, yeah, then you're presented with this beautiful little launcher. One other little thing to quickly mention, in the options section of the Nitrox launcher, it'll have a game directory. You'll need to actually select the game directory that your Subnautica installation is located in. Otherwise, the launcher won't be able to detect where the game is or where the game files it needs to leverage. Where it's as simple as literally making sure it's external console and start the Nitrox server. This will launch the server on your local machine / instance. So if you're going to run this on a dedicated server, it's the same principle. Make sure Subnautica is installed, make sure the path is there, and run it like that. As you can see from the console, you've got your game mode, survival, you've got your server password, you've got your admin password, your LAN IP address, so anyone that's on your local network that's going to connect will use that LAN IP address. And also you've got your, it's got a global IP address there, which is like if you're using port forwarding. But basically that's only really necessary if you don't have a DNS name resolved to your router. I actually have a DNS name that comes with my router because I spent a bit of money on my router. So I actually have a DNS name that I can put in there instead of the global IP. Otherwise, you'll have to put in the global IP for anyone that wants to join you in the future. After you type in, you can, with this console, you can also find out commands that you can use on the server. So if you type in help, it brings out a massive list of commands from changing your admin password, changing your server password, changing the time of day, op or deop players to give them admin rights or not, so they can spawn in stuff or not. They're all really self-explanatory. You can essentially go through here, and that's how you'll essentially broadcast to other players, save the game, stop the server, those sort of things. If you want to exit safely, you can use Control-C, which will exit. Should exit safely, I'm not 100% sure, but overall you kind of want to stop it using the commands anyway. With the server password, they haven't actually implemented a way for the client to connect, so you can actually set a server password for the game, but after doing a lot of research on this, and this has been quite a while, like I've been researching this sort of stuff for ages, you can't actually connect with the client with a password. So the only actual way to get around this so that you have a private server is to pretty much install Hamachi and have a Hamachi password and then run this through Hamachi so that your local exterior network can be connected to via a passworded Hamachi server. There are tons of places to find that. You just Google Hamachi server setup and you can pretty much run through. In fact, there's even a Subnautica video for setting up private server for Hamachi if you look far enough. Yeah, so moving on. So basically, to set up so you have access to, like, essentially anyone in the world can connect to your server, you'll need to do a little bit of work on your router to enable port forwarding. If you don't know how to connect to your router or do this step, I highly recommend Google searching your router's model and device and just carefully read through and take the necessary steps to be able to set this up. But if you're going to use this for LAN parties, you don't need this step. This is just in case you want someone from another house to connect to yours. So basically, you can see in my router configuration there's a service name that's called Subnautica protocol. Now Subnautica uses the UDP protocol, not TCP, just don't get that confused. And the external port, which is 11,000. Those are needed to connect. And then finally, the internal IP address. That is the computer or device that your server is going to be running from. So for those who don't not exactly know what that means, it means your computer will have an IP address. You can easily go into it. I've thrown a description of how to check your IP address in the description. It's very simple. You just type in ipconfig and then go in command prompt and then have a look and it'll tell you IP address, or you can just go to network adapters and go to the status of your connection and that will also tell you IP address. Once you've put that in and save that, you will then from then on be able to connect to the global IP address that's your router, or DNS name if you've set it. This is probably to a lot of people, this is probably one of the most complex steps. So if you're really worried, it's basically search up port forwarding and essentially how to port forward, and make sure that you Google your router. Most routers have the ability to do this. I haven't met one that hasn't. Just might be named something funny. Now we're going to show you how to play the game. Basically, you just click on play game and click on the play multiplayer from the exact same launcher that you're most likely launching your server from. So this is basically a server client launcher. So basically select on the multiplayer tab, scroll down to the connection that you've put in. Notice I've got a DNS for the first one. I'll go into that a bit later. And once you're connected, you'll be presented with your name that you'll have in, as well as the player color, and you can select from an array of colors. You'll also see the server IP address on the bottom left, and it's basically just click join and you go in. In the dialog box, you can have multiple server saves. So if all your friends have got their own server, or you've got different servers for different things at different houses, that's probably the easiest way to do it for multi-server connections. Otherwise, usually one person will run a server, and it would basically be very simplistic and easy to run. Again, this is one of the simplest setups for Subnautica. There was much harder ones in the past, and yeah, once you load it in, you'll be able to experience Subnautica for multiplayer. So as you can see, I've loaded into the game. The game's pretty simplistic. You can open containers and stuff. It's the same as what it would be. I'm going to store a couple items in to see how the server save is going to go, and then yeah, from there we'll run the external DNS and see how that goes with Subnautica. Okay, so we're back at the multiplayer menu, and as you can see, my DNS, look at that, same, exactly the same. It's even kept my color and my name, and you can see that the server global IP address is there. It's basically just hit join, and it should be, all fingers holding, the exact same server. And this kind of gives you an idea of how it saves and how it remembers your reservation key. I think it's to do with your client. The client has its own individual reservation key based on your name. So if you change your name, you change your inventory. Remember that. Pretty sure other people can change their name to you as well. I haven't tried that, but it's a funny glitch. But yes, once you've loaded in, other people can connect to your server either via LAN or multiplayer. Hi guys, thank you for watching my first ever tutorial video. An Instructable on how to start a Subnautica server. If you'd like to watch some actual multiplayer gameplay, follow me on Twitch, Twitch TV/MasterCrab90. I'll be doing a Subnautica stream in the upcoming weeks. And yeah, if you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button and help me out. Just a quick note that I didn't mention before. It's in alpha, this mod, so it will most likely be contained millions and millions of bugs, and if you're one of those people who can't handle bugs, probably best not to do this right now. But keep up to date with the Nitrox Discord, and, you know, keep on swimming. Master Crabs, signing off.